It's postseason time here for the 76ers. Coming up on today's show, a comprehensive deep dive into this matchup between the Sixers and the Magic. Everything you need to know ahead of Wednesday night's NBA play-in game. Before we get into all of that, keys to the game, analysis, my prediction, I want your guys' take right now. I know we know Joel Embiid, a lot of Sixers fans pretty pessimistic, but who do you got in this matchup? Let me know. Type PHI if you're still rocking with the Sixers, ORL if you think the Orlando Magic come out of this one with a win. And with that, let's start this preview. You're watching 76ers Now by Chat Sports. Jake Chipper here with you. And big matchup on Wednesday. Sixers taking on the Magic in what should be a pretty good game between two teams who finished with the exact same record in the Eastern Conference standings, thanks to the Sixers' win on Sunday over the Bucks and the Magic losing to the Boston Celtics in crazy fashion with nobody on the Celtics playing in that game. They're missing like 8 of their top guys. The Sixers were able to tie Orlando in the standings. Philadelphia won their regular season tiebreaker, so they get the 7th seed in this playing game and home court advantage. Now, despite that, depending where you look, the Sixers are still underdogs. We do have them as 1.5-point favorites, but different places you look, it's really a pick'em game. These two teams very close in the standings, in their play, and in terms of what people think and how this game is going to go. Tip-off set for 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Of course, as I mentioned, Sixers do have that home court advantage at Xfinity Mobile Arena because they won the season series. And we'll start by taking a look at that season series, which the Sixers won 2-1. Game 1 between these two teams was played very, very early in the season on October 27th in Philadelphia. Sixers won 136-124 without Embiid or Paul George playing in that game. That was when they got off that 4-0 start. Then these two teams met up again in Philadelphia on November 25th. This time it was Orlando with a dominant victory, 144-103 over the Sixers. But Philadelphia didn't have Embiid, Paul George, or VJ Edgecombe. The Magic did not have Paolo. And then the Sixers won that season series on January 9th in Orlando, winning 103-91. Magic did not have Franz Wagner or Jalen Suggs for that game, but still a big win for the Sixers to win the season series, allowing them to have home court in this matchup here. Now, before we really dive too deep into the matchups and the analytics and all this and that, what to watch out for, keys to the game, obviously, the number one thing to measure is Joel Embiid. And, there's been some people asking, is he going to play? Is he going to play? There's 0% chance Joel Embiid plays in this game. And even if the Sixers win, they face the Celtics because the winner of this matchup does face Boston in the playoffs. I don't think Embiid would be back for that series either. With the emergency appendectomy and the surgery he had to have, and the way the Sixers have been talking about it as well, Nick Nurse mentioned that it was a very serious injury. Andre Drummond mentioned that, we know he's going to be out for a while. The way they're all talking, even though the Sixers have not released an official timeline on Joel Embiid, he's not going to be available for a while. 100% won't be out there on Wednesday. Obviously, that changes things a lot for each of these teams, game planning wise. So let's dive into some of the numbers here. The Magic this season, honestly, some of their numbers pretty similar to Philadelphia, both middle-of-the-pack teams. 18th in offensive rating, 13th in defensive rating, 17th in net rating. They are 5th in defensive rebounding percentage. The rebounding battle will be important to monitor. Sixers obviously not a very good rebounding team. Big thing here for the Magic, though, the Sixers can take advantage. They are just 24th in the league in three-pointers made per game and 27th in the league in three-point percentage. It's an area they've struggled for a while with this current iteration of their team. And when I talk about my keys to the game later, an area the Sixers will have to be able to exploit. Now, a big thing with the Magic is health. Again, sounds similar to the 76ers. They have not really been healthy all year long. And when they are, this starting unit, pretty good. Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paolo, and Wendell Carter Jr., but especially Franz has missed a ton of time. Paolo's been in and out. Jalen Suggs has been in and out. Desmond Bane's actually played all 82 games. Shout out to him for that. But when they've had this fully healthy lineup, they've actually looked a lot better than their regular stats say. As I mentioned, their net rating this year, 17th at plus 0.6. But this lineup, when they have been out there on the floor, plus 8.6 net rating. Now, only 167 minutes played together with that 5-man unit. Obviously, as I mentioned, small sample size with all the injuries, but a 121 offensive rating, 113 defensive rating. So it's kind of still up in the air what this team looks like with this lineup, but based off the small sample size we do have, that lineup has looked pretty good. So, take some of their season stats with a grain of salt, as you should with the Sixers as well, because obviously dealing with the Embiid injury right now, and their season has just been so up and down in terms of who's been available, who's been out there. Obviously, Maxey missed some time, Embiid missed a lot of time, Paul George was suspended for a bunch of games, right? And so the Sixers this year, you notice very similar to the Magic. 16th in offensive rating, 17th in defensive rating, 18th in net rating, actually negative there, although just barely at negative 0.1. 26th in defensive rebounding percentage. Obviously, the Magic were 5th there. Sixers also not a great three-point shooting team. 22nd in three-pointers made per game this year, 23rd in three-point percentage. And Nick Nurse was asked about this matchup against the Orlando Magic, how he sees them going, and Nurse said this: pretty physical team. Looks like they've gotten everybody back now too, which they are. They're fully healthy. They've hardly been healthy all year. Big wings, aggressive guards. Jalen Suggs and Desmond Bane are two competitive physical guys back there. Obviously, Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner at the wing spots. And they've got some decent depth. This is going to be a tough matchup and a team that, kind of up in the standings at some points, down in the standings at some points. I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Now, coming up next, we're going to dive even deeper into this game. I'm going to give you my 5 keys to the game, the Sixers to come out on top. Before we do, I want to know what your biggest key to this matchup is. Let me know. And to get ready for it, man, I'll tell you what, these two guys, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, are going to have a phenomenal performance if the Sixers want to win this game. Why not rep the two youngsters, VJ Max, with one of their Slam t-shirts. All the black Slam t-shirts are sold out. If you've been watching the show, I have that one. But the white one is back in stock and still available in all sizes. Chatsports.com/SixersSlam. Again, chatsports.com/SixersSlam. If you missed out on the first wave, take advantage while you still can. All right, my 5 keys to the game. Number 1's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty simple, but Tyrese Maxey absolutely has to be elite. And I'm not just talking he was great this year, obviously. I think he should make All-NBA first team with the season Tyrese Maxey had. But he has to really take it to that next level if the Sixers want to win this game and win games beyond this. I'm talking like an SGA, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic type of carry where he's able to be that guy to take your team deep into the playoffs because of him. And again, I love Maxey, but he hasn't been quite that upper level yet. Can he do that this season? He's had some success against the Magic this year, putting up over 30 points a game. And he's had some good games, had a 40-point game early in the year. But there's also been times where he struggled a little bit. I mean, the three-point shooting, just 33.3% for him in those 3 games against Orlando. Only 4 assists per game as well. So they've had some success on him in different ways, guarding him with different strategies because of all the different defenders they can throw at him. Now, what will be key for Maxey, and when I say he has to dominate in this matchup specifically, is getting to the basket, attacking downhill. Obviously, Maxey is a great shot creator. He can knock down shots from the outside, but I think when you combine the lack of three-point shooting for him recently with a finger injury and the fact that the Magic are one of the worst interior defending teams in the NBA while being a very good three-point defense, big opportunity here for Maxey to get downhill, attack the basket, draw fouls, kick out like he was doing against them all year long. I will say, a guy like Anthony Black, I think is going to be a big X factor in this game. When I mentioned that the Magic had some options to throw at him and slow him down, in that big win that Orlando had when they won 144-103, a lot of it was because Anthony Black was doing a great job on Tyrese Maxey. He's a great defender, good young player. But again, they can throw Bane at him, who's okay. Suggs is a really good defender. They want to throw a bigger body at him. They can throw Paolo or Franz in there. So it's going to be a lot for Maxey. Obviously, not having a beat out there. We'll see if he's able to be that guy. Number 2 is what kind of Paolo Banchero the Orlando Magic get and how the Sixers kind of prepare to stop him, because Philadelphia has struggled this year guarding guys in his archetype, right? And obviously players as good as Paolo, it is generally difficult to guard them. But these bigger wings who can go off the dribble, off the bounce and get to the rim, the Sixers do tend to struggle with. Now, I will say, Paolo for the Magic has been inconsistent at best this year. Not quite the guy that maybe people thought, a couple years ago coming into the season. It's just been an inconsistent year for Paolo Banchero, dealing with some injuries, of course, but a lot of people are lower on him, and he was pretty bad in their loss against the Celtics on Sunday, which led to them falling down to the 8th seed. So do we get, the top tier version of Paolo that honestly we have seen in the playoffs. A lot of people like to, clown on Paolo, but the playoff numbers look pretty good. No, they've never won a series. They have 2 series that won a couple years ago against the Cavs. They went 7. That was great. Last year they lost in 5 to the Celtics. But, look at his playoff numbers in those 12 games. 28, 8-4. And guess what? Shooting 42% from 3 in the playoffs. Career like a 32% three-point shooter. So, what Paolo, the Magic end up getting in this one? Is he that aggressive, assertive, good decision-making player? Or is he more the guy that we just saw on Sunday who, stepped out of bounds late in that game against the Celtics when he was going to get an open three-point shot, decided to drive, stepped on the sideline? We'll see. That remains to be seen. And how the Sixers want to attack him, Kelly Oubre guarding him, Paul George, I think Dominic Barlow can do a good job. That will be very, very important to contain him. Next up, what Paul George do the Sixers get, right? Do we get playoff P or do we get pandemic P? If it's anything like the way he's been playing since coming off the suspension, I think you feel pretty good about it. Now, the first, I want to say 5-6 games off the suspension were amazing. He's cooled down a little bit as of late, but still in those last 10 games since coming back, putting up 21, nearly 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting the ball efficiently, playing good basketball. He's got to be that true number 2 behind Tyrese Maxey as somebody who has the playoff experience. He's been there a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of discourse around Paul George, and he's had some good playoff moments. He's had some not so good playoff moments. And so can it kind of all come full circle now this year with the way he's been playing better as of late, kind of pay off that contract a little bit with maybe some big postseason performances? Because he's been in these big spots before in what the Sixers are considering a winner-go-home game, even though obviously they lose, they do have another chance against the winner of Hornets versus Heat. Number 4, the perfect defensive game plan. What do I mean by this, right? I think a key to this game is guarding the Magic in the right way to counter their strengths and kind of play to the numbers, right? So the Magic this year, as I mentioned earlier, not a good three-point shooting team. Not only do they not make a lot at a low percentage, they also don't shoot a lot, right? 24th in the league, and how often they take three-point shots at three-point frequency. But they are 6th in the league in rim frequency, so they like to attack the basket, and they are 2nd in free throw rate. So they get downhill, they get to the basket, and they draw a lot of fouls. A lot of that is Paolo Banchero. Franz Wagner can do that as well, right? So the way I would guard them, and the way I think the Sixers should go about this is, you're not going to let them just take open threes, but you can't let guys get by you and get to the rim because they're going to live there. If they start living there, they start getting to the foul line, that gets bad, right? So, invite them to stay out on the perimeter a little bit more, load up on the paint, clog the paint, make them make threes. Now, the only guy that could obviously make things not ideal for the Sixers in this game plan is Desmond Bane, right? Easily their best three-point shooter, nearly 40% on the year. That's why they brought him in the offseason, played all 82 games and put up good numbers. And he's a guy who, if he starts to get going, man, he can knock down a few threes early, and that can really change the complexion of the game. So, again, my perfect defensive game plan: load up the paint. Do not let them to get inside, which is going to be a big ask. Obviously, with no Joel Embiid, right? Adem Bona, Andre Drummond out there. They've been mediocre at best all year. You got to keep guys in front of you on the perimeter. Don't let them get inside, and don't let Desmond Bane be the only person to light you up from 3 and get hot early. You should be okay. And if you combine that with what I think might be one of the biggest keys to the game, which is winning the turnover battle, I think you win the game. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, of course, win the turnover battle. That's so obvious. Any team wants to win the turnover battle in an NBA game, especially a playoff game. But I think, when you consider the way both these two teams stack up and how they play, it really is extremely important because they are so similar in these key areas. Points off turnovers. Sixers are 9th, Magic are 12th. So both teams do thrive in generating points off opponent teams' turnovers. Both teams also good in fast break. 9th for the Sixers, 12th for the Magic. How about opponent points off turnovers? Sixers generally do a pretty good job at 7th in the league. So do the Magic at 8th. So both teams will turn you over, but both teams do not commit turnovers themselves. So which one's going to give, right? They can't both be good at it, and both teams, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of these has to give. One of these teams has to win the turnover battle when both teams generally do. And interestingly enough, both teams also not very good in opponent fast break points. So again, forcing turnovers, getting out and running in transition. Both these teams are very similar in those regards. Good at taking care of the ball, good at forcing turnovers. So which one is going to be the team that does take care of the ball and forces the other team into mistakes? We saw the Sixers in that game, I believe it was against Miami, where uncharacteristically, they had a ton of turnovers throughout that game, especially early on, that led to the big loss. It might have been against San Antonio as well. Take care of the ball, force some turnovers. You should be good. Obviously, some other obvious small stuff like, how does VJ Edgecombe do in his first postseason action? We'll see what to expect out of him. Quentin Grimes, I think, is another big one as well, having a guy off the bench. And then the coaching matchup, right? Two coaches that I think both fan bases not super high on, and Jamal Mosley for the Magic, and of course, Nick Nurse for your Sixers. But really, those 5 areas that I laid out, you do those things, I think the Sixers actually do come out with the win in this game, because I think Orlando is kind of the team they've been all year, up and down, but even without Joel Embiid, I think the Sixers still have enough to get it done. Again, if they do these 5 things, Maxey's got to carry, stop Paolo, maybe he's inconsistent anyways, get a good Paul George performance, use that defensive game plan I mentioned, win the turnover battle, I think you win the game. Let me know your score predictions down in the comments section. Sixers versus Magic on Wednesday. And a reminder, we'll be live for that game on the channel. So hit that sub button, turn on your notifications. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on the show.